Hello and welcome to another great tutorial in All About Nodes in LightWave. In this episode, we're gonna look at the imperfection maps and how you can apply those imperfections on your material. If it's plastic, glass, metal, whatever, you can place imperfections to give the material more life and more realism. So here is a simple scene I created, just a plane and a cube for better reflection. And if I start the BPR, just one principled BSDF material applied to both of them. Double click on the principled BSDF material, and what we do is we bring down the roughness and specular to 0 and bring up the metallic value to 100. So now you can see that we have a full reflective material surface. If we now apply this imperfection map that I downloaded from Grayscale Gorilla and we apply the Luma into the roughness, you can see that this imperfection map is applied. But if you're looking closer down to the reflections, you can see that these reflections underneath are totally washed out. The reason for that is when you plug imperfection map and drive the roughness of the principled material, it can look pleasing, right? Artistically speaking, but it's not physical accurate. The reason is that when you're looking at a mirror or a metal surface, which is super plain, right? A mirror, the glass of the mirror is plain. And when there are some smudge and some dust on the mirror, some fingerprints, you don't change the roughness of the material. The glass, it stays the same. You don't change the roughness of the material. And this is what this setting here does. It changes the roughness behavior of the material, but that's not accurate. Okay, so how we can fix this issue? You have to drive something else instead of the roughness. So if you double click on this principled BSDF node, you can see that here we have the clear coat. Okay, so what is a clear coat? A clear coat is an extra reflective layer on top of an existing material. Today's every renderer, every material system, especially the PBR material system, has this clear coat function in it, and LightWave has it as well. So if we bring this up to 100 and we drop the glossiness to 0, we have a clear coat on top. And now we can drive the clear coat with our imperfection map. So we use the Luma and we drive the clear coat layer. But now you can see that the imperfections are not visible or really barely visible. So how we can make this imperfection map stronger? So for that, we need the multiply node. Just type in mul and then you can see here math, scalar, multiply. Double click, bring it in, and then bring the Luma into the A input and the result into the clear coat. So now we are back as it was before, full reflective metal material. Double click on the multiply node and you can see here we get this B value. So 0 meaning no imperfection, 1 meaning 100% imperfections, but with 100% imperfections, we don't see the imperfection here on this scenario. So we can go higher than 100% here. So let's set this to 50 maybe. And now you can see the imperfection starts to showing up. But the most important thing is that you can see this reflection of this cube is intact, right? It's sharp and it's intact. Because with this approach, we don't change the roughness behavior of the material because the material is plain, right? But we applied the clear coat, and on this clear coat, we applied this dust or this smudge material. And this is actually the realistic behavior of an imperfection map on a plain metal material. So now what's happened when we change this material to, let's say, a glass material? It works the same way. Double click on the principled BSDF material, bring down the metallic, and then bring up the transparency. Okay, so now we have a glass material. And you can see when you go down, you can see this is full glass material. But what I like to do in the glass material, I like to bring in a slightly tint to the glass, and I play with this transmittance distance. So let's bring this down to, let's say, 10 centimeters. And you can see that now it's exactly the realistic behavior of a tinted glass. You can see on top, the glass is still transparent, right? Has maybe a slightly tint, but when we go down here, you can see that you see this nice transmittance distance. And this was a question in the Discord server, how you can achieve this, you know, this mirror glass. And when you tilt the camera to the side, it gets this transmittance distance. And this is how you can achieve this. See, transmittance to 100%, and then play around with this transmittance distance. And this already looks really realistic. All right, so with this glass material, the smudge is probably way too strong. So we can go into the multiplier and change this value, let's say, to about maybe 8. And now we can see that we have this dust layer, this imperfection on top of this glass material. All right, so one thing that I want to show you is if we go back to the principled BSDF and bring down the transparency and bring up the metallic again. So when you look it straight on this metallic surface, in reality, you will not see the imperfections that strong when you look it straight to it, okay? But you will see the imperfections more clear when you tilt the camera, okay? So how we can drive this effect? So it's simple. You can see that this image map here has this opacity input. So for that, we use the Fresnel, and we use this math scaler Fresnel, and we plug this Fresnel, the result, into the opacity. And now you can see that the imperfection is gone. But as soon as we start to tilt the camera, and we have to tilt a lot, and then you can see that we have this imperfection. Really nice, okay? So now when you look straight, you see the imperfections low, and as soon as you start to tilt the camera, the more you tilt the camera, the more you see this imperfection. And if we go here to the sun, you can see the sun is not distorted. The reflection of the sun is not distorted. The reflection of the cube is not distorted, but we have this imperfection. You can see because we drive the clear coat, we still have access to this roughness value, and we can increase this roughness value of this metal, okay? And then you have something like this. All right, so this setup here is the simple version that you can use if you want to apply just one single imperfection map. So now I want to show you the layered material approach, and I want to show you why the layered material approach has way more benefit than just this approach here. All right, so let's plug this out and double click on this principled BSDF, bring it down the roughness, and we have a 100% metal material. Okay, so now what we do is we right click, we copy, and we paste this principled BSDF material. On the second principled BSDF material, what we do is we crank up the roughness, bring down the metallic, and bring down the clear coat. So now when we plug this in here, we can see that we have just a standard principled BSDF without reflection, but full rough. So now we have to mix these two materials. And to mix two materials, we need the material mixer. You'll find it in the material tools, and here is the material mixer. Double click. Okay, so you can see that we have two white input ports and we have two white output ports. So that means that we can connect these two together and bring this in right there. Now you can see that we are back into the metal material. If you double click on this material mixer, you can see the alpha map is set to 0%. So when we bring this up to 100%, we have this rough material. Okay, so now when we drive this alpha input here with our imperfection map right there, okay, so you can see that now this imperfection map is applied, but it's very, very strong. So to reduce this, we have to double click on the multiplier and bring this value down, let's say to 10. Still too much. Let's bring it down to 6. Play around with the setting until you are happy with the imperfection map on top of this metal material. And you can see basically what we have here is we have the same result as we had before when we just drive the clear coat. But the benefit of this technique here, now you have two different materials, two independent materials that you can drive. Okay, and I want to show you a technique how this is useful. Let's say we have another imperfection map. Let's say we have some scratches. Okay, so we plug the scratches into our setup, and you can see that we have our scratches now. And we want to add those scratches into our metal surface. Okay, so we plug this into the bump and let's zoom in. And now you can see we get these scratches. But these scratches here, the bump looks outside and we want to that the bump goes inside. Okay, unfortunately in the principal BSDF node here in the bump height, we can't go lower than 0. So you can type in here, let's say -2. It's clamped to 0. Okay, so how we can bring this bump inwards? Sometimes you have to go inside your image map and then just go to the edit and then invert the map, and now it's inverted. Okay, and you can see that this is still very strong. So let's bring it down to 1 or even lower, 0.3. And of course you need to crank up the bump power, right? And now you can see that the scratches goes inside. Okay, and now I like to show you the benefit. What we could do is we can use this on top layer. Let's change this to something orange right there. And now you can see that the top material has a new color, but the scratches takes place of this metal material. All right, and then you have something like this. So this looks pretty good to me. So I hope you can see the benefits and the differences between if you use these imperfections on the roughness channel, which can look pleasing, but it's not physical accurate, or you use it with this approach that you drive the clear coat, or the benefit of having this layered material, and then you have two separate independent materials that you can drive with different imperfection maps, like here. So you have the scratches, and in the scratches we see the metal material, and outside is the other material applied. So I hope you learned something. I hope I could show you something you can use for your own projects. And as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Feel free to add a comment, add a question, thumbs up, and subscribe my channel to help me grow with this tutorial channel. So again, thank you very much.